Coming at you live, covering all things professional wrestling. A show by members of the Boston Open Nation. Welcome to the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, the Nation's Corner crew.
Good evening, Nation's Corner family, friends, and fans. John in South Jersey here. Welcome to another edition of the Nation's Corner. And as always, I am joined by my unusual cast of usual characters. First and foremost, he is in Long Island, not on Long Island, but we love him anyway. Mongrovian Mike, what's up, brother?
What's happening, man? How's it going?
And
Happy
of course,
almost Father's Day, bro.
Almost. We're going to get to that. And of course, she is the hostess with the mostest. Cup of Ron John wine in hand. It's proper.
No wine.
Shut up. No wine.
Mango margarita.
Oh, well. There's booze in the cup. She is, of course, Debhausen, the great and powerful. How are you, Deb?
I'm great. It's a Saturday. We had a very eventful week in wrestling. So
Yes.
yeah, it's great.
Yes, we actually have things to talk about. Unlike like I usually say, like, what are we going to talk about? I sound like Cody Rhodes, but anyhow, yes, there was a lot to go into, probably more than we will get into, but we'll give it a shot anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to start off with something to change gears. We'll get to the big ones. We'll get to AEW. We'll get to WWE. We'll get to all that. Let's talk about something that happened just this past weekend that we were all very interested in and watching. And of course, that was the Tournament of Survival and the Cage of Survival weekend that took place at the Showboat in Atlantic City, just about an hour that way from me. Game Changer Wrestling doing their annual event. And it did not disappoint. And even if you're not a fan of deathmatch wrestling, there was enough on the card besides just complete insanity, including on Sunday, which we'll get into also, that we almost had live human Frogger going out on in the streets of Atlantic City, if you did not see. But a very interesting, and it's always interesting when GCW does these type of shows, because you always have the X factor or the unpredictability of, for lack of a better term, fuckery. When you bring in light tubes and tables and chairs and lions and tigers and bears, oh my, anything and everything can happen. But one particular match was a debut of someone's in GCW and his first ever death match. And I'm talking about former Bear Country Tag Team, Iron Savages, AEW star and talent. Bear Bronson made his debut in GCW and his first ever death match against a very well-known opponent to him and those of us that follow deathmatch wrestling in Slade, fresh from Rikers Island and worried about if he's going back there again anytime soon. But the man he doesn't, and he tends to be violent. And nothing for nothing, just for besides the fact that it was Bear's first time in the death match and all that. What a fantastic match, start to finish. Man, it absolutely delivered. It set the tone for the whole Tournament of Survival and the Cage of Survival show that was the second day on Sunday. Deb, you were also very interested in it because you are newer to GCW and the whole death match that they do. So what were your thoughts on it?
Oh my God, I loved it. I loved every single second of it. It's insane. I was first really introduced to GCW because of Matt Cardona in 2020. That was kind of my first exposure to GCW. And, you know, over the last 5 years, I've paid attention to them, you know, kind of paid attention on social media, what was going on, caught a show here and there. But this year, I really wanted to kind of dive in more on it, to kind of, I don't know, fill that void of that style of wrestling and just indie wrestling. And oh my God, I was so excited. Once it was announced that Bear was going to be on this show, I was just so freaking excited to see what he could do. And he just went all out, like head first, just no, like, literally no like inhibitions. He really put it all out there. And you could tell by like his facial expressions and just like you could tell how much he was loving it. And I just said to you guys a few minutes ago before we went live, it's like something was awakened in him. And it was just so awesome to see. And I'm telling you, for real, with everything else going on in wrestling right now on WWE and AEW, with all the major stuff that is happening all week, and still I'm still seeing people talking about this freaking match. Like, it's just like so much of the wrestling fandom, and especially the indie fans, just
they're one of the top sellers on Pro Wrestling Tees.
You go on
With his
Pro
new
Wrestling
shirt.
Tees right now. You click weekly top sellers, and his is on that list. And yesterday I was sitting at work, and I went on and I bought that in a tank top, because I realized, like, so my t-shirt collection is freaking out of control. It's stupid.
Yeah.
But now that it's summer and I'm wearing tank tops more often, I'm like I don't really have a lot of wrestling tank tops. Like, I have a Darby one, I have a Jeff Hardy one, but that might be it as far as wrestling tank tops. So I'm like, I need to buy some more tank tops. I have too many t-shirts as it is. So I ordered that in a tank top, and I can't wait to get it. But yeah, like this, oh my God, this match was just fucking incredible. And I posted earlier in the week on Twitter. I feel like this year I've kind of, like, I think it took me up until this year to kind of really nail down what style of wrestling that I prefer. You know, we always talk about the ice cream flavors. Everyone has a different favorite flavor and a different favorite style of wrestling. And like, I remember, and Seth can attest to this as well, I remember years ago sitting and watching Raw and SmackDown, and sometimes I was just so bored that I would be like on my phone scrolling through Facebook, like taking selfies, and like my friends would make fun of me, be like, why are you bored? Why aren't you watching the show? Come on, why are you on your phone? Pay attention. And I was just, it bored me a lot. Also, it was the John Cena PG era, so there's a reason. But yeah, I think it took up until now for me to realize, like, seeing more GCW and like this match with Bear and Slade, like, it woke up something in Bear, and I think it woke up something in me too, that I was like, oh my God, this is so freaking awesome. And then, and that girl that had the horny for violence sign that, you know, went viral. I need that on like a sticker, a magnet, a t-shirt, everything. I need that.
Well, now, Elder Mike, you have a relationship with Bear and his wife Gabby. They're both from Long Island, and you have basically grown up, or they have grown up around you, working the indies out there at Creative Pro and Victory Pro and all that. So what was it like for you to see him move into this different area, different genre?
Bear's been around a while. By the time I got to my first Creative Pro show, he was already like, you know, a Creative Pro legend. You know, I mean, like, he's just beloved. It doesn't matter what he does, he's not gonna, you know, he's gonna get a pop at a Creative Pro show. So he's got that, you know. But when you see him watching Gabby, you know, he's Winnie the Pooh. But you know,
How adorable are they?
He's like
it's,
a teddy
it's
bear.
ridiculous.
They're like his eyes, you know, like the emojis with the heart eyes that I
Yes.
sent to my grandson. You know, that's what you see when you watch him. He's watching Gabby wrestle, and meanwhile, like Gabby is mauling someone. She's like, she got two chicks on her shoulder or two guys on her shoulder, and she's doing this and that, throwing people around, doing you know.
Yeah, it's
he's
quite
got
the dynamic
look, he's
to
got
see in
this
person.
look of love. They're so smitten, and vice versa too.
Yes,
And
you know,
but then
these are
all of a
both
sudden,
very
oh my God, it's
large,
crazy to see
powerful
the two of them.
people.
I've
Very
seen them,
large, powerful people that
Yeah.
can do amazing things in a ring, and you look at them, they're like, "Oh, that's so cute."
I've seen him and Slade go at it. You know, of course, we're in New York, so it's you know what it is, the laws and everything. So,
Well,
but I've seen Bear, you know, extreme matches, you know, death matches, not death matches, but no DQ matches. You know, doors, chairs. You know, that's that kind of stuff. Not you know, no, you know, nobody's getting you know. Getting light tubes and ripped up and barbed wire, none of that. So seeing this match was just like, I was like, holy cow! And you know how I like death match. I like extreme matches. I mean ECW. You know, I mean, I love all that. I love all that stuff. But like death matches, like recently, like I wasn't. I liked them. I said they were hit or miss, like you know, like a Nick Gage match. You're never gonna miss with that. You're never gonna miss one of his matches from the second he comes out. But some of them are just like, oh, well, you know, light tube. This was like every light tube meant something. Every fist, every move meant something. Every gossip play. Oh my God.
Oh my
And
God!
when
Try to explain to a non-wrestling fan how it's awesome to watch somebody get a gusset plate slapped into their
my
head.
God! Oh, I thought they were Gossett plates. I thought they were named after Louis Gossett Jr. I thought he invented them. No,
no,
oh
no,
my God.
no.
Cool. He's just a great actor. Them. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. No.
But anyway, they painted a violent symphony out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A violent bloody Mona Lisa. Just a beautiful piece of art that they did from beginning to end. And these guys have more of a story. This was just the first layer, I believe, of Bear. Yeah. And Slade is bringing something out in him, because I know everybody's talking about Bear, but let me tell you something, man. Slade is a crazy mofo. So
yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't know what the hell's
going
on with my stupid camera. So
and while I haven't been
quite
on the journey that
I'm right here. What is my head shrinking and got?
I haven't quite been on the journey that you have been with Bear and Gabby to that extent.
Gabby was from day one. Bear was already
very excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see Bear in this next chapter post AEW. And what he can do. And those who are not familiar, besides like me and Deb, who are the only other like one other person that somewhere that watches Ring of Honor regularly, they were, when he was with the Iron Savages, he was on there a lot, and you could tell he was right on that cusp, ready to be on. And yes, they did have some appearances and some basic squash matches on AEW TV and stuff, but and then he got released, which is always kind of stinks to an extent. But we're absolutely in a day and age now that we were talking about before we went live, being released from a major company is not a death sentence by any means. It's it's a chance to continue your story. You can, do what you want. You can make yourself out to be, it's the Matt Cardona formula, basically, and believe it or not, and we have seen it, and we're going to talk about that a little bit in a second. if you're good, if you're making that much noise, those big companies will come back to you and say, hey, do you want to come back to work? And probably give you more money than you were making with them originally. So
Exactly.
again, we're in this just amazing age of pro wrestling that will, it continues to just keep everything is, like Sam Roberts says, speculate wildly, and everything counts.
Yep.
Because in this day and age, absolutely everything does. But,
it really does. And look at Cody. You know, Cody's kind of, other than Cardona, Cody's the perfect example. And he did it first. He left because he wasn't satisfied with what he was doing in the direction that he was going in. Went out there and proved himself, kicked some ass, shown that he can be a top star, helped start a new company.
Yeah.
And showed that that they missed the opportunity.
And he also jumped on the coattails of his wife. So, I mean,
yeah.
Let's face it, now he's just
Naomi.
We know
it's
trying to. We know the only reason that Cardona is really super over now is because he married Chelsea.
Chelsea's better.
Chelsea kept him relevant. So
Chelsea's better.
Yeah,
like the T-shirt says, Chelsea's better.
Yeah.
But
all
right,
absolutely.
moving on. The other big news of the week is we had I don't want to call it a debut, but and I honestly I don't know what to call it, but I absolutely love it. Ron Killings, not R-Truth, not K Quick.
On his name.
Ron Killings, former NWA champion Ron Killings, has returned to WWE. And we're not going to get into, the fans outcry, this and that, all that.
Yeah, whether it was a work or whether it was this or that,
does not matter.
Who cares?
To me, that's not even an argument.
It's
not even an argument.
But
it is whatever it is. It's great.
I remember, Deb, you remember a couple of shows ago, we talked about the lull that WWE was in, and I said, I'm not really sure how or why it's going the way it's going, but I have all the faith that they're going to do something or pull something off that's going to get everybody right back in. I give you Exhibit A, Ron Killings. No further questions. You're on the defense.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go that far because, for me personally, one good storyline like that, yes, that is absolutely has been making the whole Cena thing more interesting. That the promo that we saw on SmackDown, I caught up on YouTube earlier this afternoon. That
the promo on Busted Open,
Cena Truth Punk thing, coming
Not
out
promo.
on Busted Open, that absolutely made that storyline more interesting. It, for me personally, and this is just me, it doesn't make my interest in WWE all of a sudden, I'm all back in, I'm watching everything. It just, it's one thing to me that's interesting, that's okay, I'm going to pay attention to that. For me, that's about as far as it goes.
Well,
that's just my opinion. But I do love it. I do love it. It's really interesting. It absolutely brought this whole Cena thing out of the doldrums for sure.
I agree. And it's been now we have an entire generation, probably two at this point, that only know Ron Killings as R-Truth. The the 18,000 time 24/7 European I-95 South champion, and the absolute comedic gold and entertainment gold that he has been forever, not just in and around the ring, all the side projects and everything he's done. This is a return to the original Ron Killings. Ron Killings originally, back in his early TNA run, when he was NWA champion in TNA, man was a bad motherfucker. Period. This is a very different version than most WWE fans know and love about R-Truth. And it's going to be very interesting because it's almost like they waited to Cena's last, quote unquote, last year to do the heel turn and all this. They waited all this time to have Ron Killings come back and be the ultimate foil to Cena. And it's absolute gold. And it's one of them things. I've always had the opinion ever since they announced it that regardless of how this year ends up, Cena is not going away forever. He is going to still be around even after, quote unquote, I retire or take the championship home.
He kind of said that in his initial retirement announcement that first night he came out and announced that this would be his last year run. Like he did say that this doesn't mean you'll never see me again. I'm just not going to be an in-ring competitor. I'm not going to be wearing the colored t-shirts and jorts. You know, he's still going to be around. He's just not going to be the John Cena wrestler.
Yeah, but he's still got to have that bald spot.
Dressing like a what? What is CM Punk dressing like a T-ball toddler or whatever?
Looking like he just struck out a T-ball.
Yeah.
But again, it's absolutely
himself with that line.
Yeah.
Again, we're in this wonderful age that everything can happen, and I know everyone wants to dive into the hows and the whys, and everybody wants to be the smart fan in the room. Just sit back and enjoy it, people. Just let it happen. Let it happen.
Who cares how pissed off the dirt sheet writers get?
Well, fuck them. They can all GFY.
When nobody snoozed it off to me. When
the only thing, like one of the things that makes me laugh though, like, you know, there's obviously all this discussion about what and how and why and blah 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 blah. The thing that made me laugh is instantly there was all these people going, oh, see, they're brilliant, they have this master plan. Like, get real.
No,
get real.
Nope.
We've heard enough to know that a lot of things just kind of happen on the fly, go with the flow. Like, that's what pro wrestling is. You gauge audience reaction and you change as things go. Like, that's we've heard so much like that. How many times have we heard things about people making surprise appearances that it just kind of came together very last minute? There was no master plan months and months ahead of time.
Yeah, what do they care if The Rock called and said we need to pivot? Who gives a shit?
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because
pivot,
like they said constantly on Busted Open this past week, especially with Dave, with the other hosts that are on with Dave. Unless we were in the room, or actually part of the conversation between either Triple H or whoever at WWE and Ron Killings, no one's ever going to know for sure.
Right.
It's quite
how it worked out.
It's quite possible there's only 2 to 3 people that know the whole pardon the pun truth.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they've done it. They've done it before with things. They, nobody. 4 people. Of course, it was the Hardys. 4 people knew about the Hardys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
4 people knew about the Dudleys. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Ed came back at the Rumble.
It.
Ed came back at the Rumble.
Yeah, it wasn't a made public thing like the Rock and Cody thing and all of that shit.
And let's face it, all the dirt sheets were just pissed off that they pulled this off, and they didn't get nobody smarting them up to it or no student
no,
it out or nothing.
The fans are supposed to get worked, not us dirt sheet idiots.
Yeah.
Well,
guess
that's
what?
also the thing is, I see things online like, people were like shitting on Sean Ross Sapp because he didn't report it. And he's like, what do you want me to do? Nobody told me. I can't just report shit. Like, if they're keeping things secret,
what do they want to do?
Secret?
They want to be able to say, well, we knew that it was this. We knew it was that. That's why. Like, they want to be the first.
It seems like Sean Ross Sapp is definitely one of those people that's like, I'm not gonna report something if I'm not absolutely like positively sure that this is true.
He at least tries to fact check with the source, right?
Right.
Like if it's about this person, he's not going to say this person said this about this person. No, it's going to be he's going to ask that person, and sometimes that person says, "Please don't. I don't want this out there." And he might, and for the most part, I think he doesn't,
he's
stooge
kind
out
of a
on
stickler.
people.
It seems for doing things the proper way. Like he does
have
a degree in journalism. Like he did study in school journalistic ethics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So but anyway,
whatever.
I just chuckled because I see them losing their minds. I'm like, you know what? Be like the rest of us and just be a fan.
We all know how
you're not going to have all the inside info.
We all know how we feel about it. So
for the most part, I don't even pay attention to that crap because they're all stupid anyway.
There's a lot.
I have most of those accounts blocked.
Didn't we just pass an anniversary of a great one night stand pay-per-view?
Oh yeah,
sure did 20 years ago.
Yes,
the original the original one night stand, the Hammerstein Ballroom, 2005.
So
I have that chair signed.
Mm-hmm.
Sabu is one of the signatures on there.
There was some in the chat talking about Blake Monroe. I know you guys watch NXT, so I don't know if you guys want to touch on that. I don't watch NXT, so I'm not really gonna comment on something that I don't watch.
Right.
I know coming up this Tuesday, Blake Monroe signs her official NXT contract. So I guess we're gonna know where things are going from there.
If you've been under a rock or somewhere that has absolutely no communication other than smoke signals, Mariah May is now officially part of WWE in NXT, and she finally has a name, Blake Monroe. Supposedly it was an homage to Marilyn Monroe, where the Monroe comes from, and Blake is a family member of hers. I get it. WWE has always wanted to put their own spin on a character, but what I don't necessarily agree with is, again, IWC gonna IWC. Oh, they made her change her name. Well, she obviously had some sort of input into it if the name was based on those two things. Those are two fairly personal things that, like, just some writer just says, here's your new name. So, and I kind of agree with it because we know who she is from AEW. We know who she is from Stardom. And there may be a certain part of the audience that does not know who she is. But why use the past now in the present? Let her start off with this name and make her own WWE chapter. So I'm not mad at it. I mean, I'm a little upset that they didn't go with my suggestion, which was Mariah May, but that's why I don't work for WWE Creative. But I mean, we all know that she's very good in ring. She's coming off one of the best stories in wrestling, period, last year with her feud leading up to the final performance in AEW. It was absolutely magical, that 1 year run that she had with Tony Storm. It was fantastic. So it's not that she's not capable or anything like that. So I'm very curious and interested to see where they're going to go, how it's going to go, and a year from now we may be talking about Blake Monroe being on the main roster, or 2 years from now, or depending, it could be anytime. Elder, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that we knew when she came out and they didn't say anything. She just said the glamour has arrived. Right there we knew. And the crowd chanted Mariah. And like I always say, the WWE universe isn't stupid, despite what some of the people at top used to, or that used to be at the top used to think. But so we all knew, but it was Ricky Starks came, it was Ricky Saints. We knew it was going to change. So that's it. They didn't even keep Mariah. So I guess they're pissed off about that. Maybe they're mad that she's making more money now, maybe, and not going to bleed as much.
Who knows? Who knows? But
I don't know.
But we know she's capable of it.
There's always name rage. There's always name rage, isn't there?
Sure.
I mean, I've been accused of it before. Now there are some that I will never take back, and rightfully so, which is Dewdrop and Butch. But there are some that I accept and say, you know what, it worked out in that guy's favor, which is Walter the Gunther.
Yeah, if anything else, it's a fresh start. It's a new thing. Let's see what happens.
It's her. You're a fan of her. I wasn't. I never went. Oh my God. I'm a fan of her name. I'm a fan of her. So in the end, that's it.
I get it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm very curious to see what and how she does with WWE now. And
we're gonna have fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have fun with that. Speaking of AEW, we are on the road to AEW All In Texas. And again, AEW doesn't tell stories. All they do is wrestle. And that they don't know. Again, watch the product and go fuck yourself. AEW tells stories, and they are absolutely have a couple of very big builds going on, leading into All In and even beyond.
One main story that goes back quite a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Before there was ever an AEW.
Yes.
Yeah. On Thursday on Busted Open, Dave LaGreca said this whole Hangman, Swerve, Osprey, Mox thing is he said he feels it's the best storyline in wrestling right now.
Sure.
Which is so fascinating to me because everybody spends so much time yelling and screaming Mongrovian.
Well, no, I still hate the Death. I still hate the Death Riders. They make zero sense to me. I just see light at the end of the tunnel of that motherfucker giving up the fucking belt and getting out of that.
That's kind of my point.
His stupid mindless promos are worse than anything anyone ever made fun of with the Ultimate Warrior.
That anymore, so shut up.
The Warrior makes more sense than he ever did.
The whole
why doesn't he go look at a turnbuckle and bleed?
Thing has made this entire storyline mean so much, and there's so many layers, and I don't give a fuck.
No, I care about Hangman. I still don't give a dead rat's ass about John Moxley. I don't. But that's the point. I care about Hangman.
That's the point.
I always cared about Swerve, but Moxley didn't make me care about Hangman.
Yeah, but Mike, that's the point.
Moxley didn't do a thing that made me care about Hangman. Hangman made me care about Hangman.
But Mike, we've had this discussion.
Exactly.
We've had this discussion.
What's your point of sticking up for Moxley? Give me
I'm not
Moxley.
sticking up for Moxley.
You're
supposed to not like him.
Well,
Right.
I'm just saying. It's the same
You're
thing with
supposed
Seth Rollins.
Be excited
it's
to see
mindless.
him lose,
It's
which
crap.
you are.
Right.
They're crap.
The story hasn't been Moxley for a while now.
The entire story is not
who's
about Mox.
taking the belt
It's not
off
about
of him. That's the story that they're absolutely going with, and they're doing a great job of telling that story.
Yeah, I know, because you can't miss when you put Swerve, Ospreay, and Hangman there. So now you know.
But it's not even just those three guys. You have MJF. You have MJF angling now as part of the Hurt Syndicate to get a shot at the title. You know, you have a 4 or 5 different guys all looking for the same thing, and that's the main part right now is who takes the belt off.
The Owen Hart of the nation is not going to get the title. Stop.
Well, he's not a nugget, but still,
he kind of is. He kind of is a nugget. He's a nugget.
While the story did start out, and yes.
Yeah.
Somebody notice this and take note of this, that we're talking about AEW developing stories.
Yes.
Contrary to popular belief. When they first started,
well, those
it was
things that don't actually watch the show. So
they are stories, but
matter.
I don't think John Moxley started at the beginning of this Death Rider stuff that I'm gonna have the people praying for me to be gone. Like
maybe he was. Maybe he was.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Regardless,
I do.
Even if it wasn't how they originally thought it, this is the point where we're at, and they're doing a fantastic job.
They're doing great. As long when I don't see Moxley, everything else is great. Yes.
When
I'm
we get
I'm
to
just waiting
July
for another
12th,
Marina versus Willow match. That's all I'm waiting for.
That'll always take. Listen, that's the only bright light for me in the Death Riders is seeing Marina Shafir. That's it.
Right. Well,
when we get to July 12th,
there's nobody else in the Death Riders I care about. I don't even care about Claudio.
Lose their fucking shit.
Can I ask you something? Do you care about Claudio Castagnoli? Other than he's going to put on a great banger match. Do you care anything about Yuta?
But that's,
I actually don't. I care about Yuta.
Really?
But
what is there to care about?
Speaking of that, I was extremely interested in the little exchange between Yuta and Chris Statlander that happened. That was a very, very interesting wrinkle in this whole story. Where Statlander was kind of cutting a promo talking about how she's sick and tired of people underestimating her and blah, blah, blah. And it kind of felt like Yuta was almost trying to recruit her into their group. And then she walks in.
Billy, I'm not paying $50. I'm not paying $50. I'm interrupted. I am not paying $50 to watch anyone lose a belt. I'm not paying it. I'm sorry. So.
Yeah, pay 25 though. Trust me, I split them with them.
Thank God.
But continue, Deb, because this is another.
No, we can't split it anymore.
Yeah, no
more. Oh yeah, that's right.
It's not.
No, I'm quite serious. So I mean, well, once they get their pay thing, I'm very interested.
So speaking of that,
I'm gonna do like other people do. I'm not paying. Just like there's people here that don't pay for YouTube to see SmackDown. I'm here. I'm not paying $50 as a fan. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that as an AEW hater. I walk around wearing the goddamn AEW hat all the friggin' time. I love AEW.
I get it.
You know,
everybody
what the hell am I
has their own
supposed to do?
preferences.
Oh, when I
am
complain
much
about
more willing to pay
WWE, then I hate
$50 to see
then
a
I
show that I'm entertained for.
Do I, John?
To me, the 6 hours
to God, do I
of
complain as much about that? Do I complain just as much about WWE? Do I complain about stuff there?
No, we all do.
I am completely out. You want me to complain? I'm completely out of the Wyatt 6 bullshit. Okay, there you go. I'm out of it. They're not bloodying up, murdering people in the back. I'm out of that storyline. Sorry.
You're a horror nerd.
Bray. I'm sorry.
You're a horror nerd.
There you go. That's it.
You're a horror nerd and a hater. Anywho, but that please
I
finish
love
that
that the
because I
Young
wanted
Bucks
to get
took
to that
out,
point.
took out Ospreay. There you go.
I'm never
I
gonna
always
be able
hate
to
on the Young Bucks. I love what the Young
Okay.
Bucks did. They brought out those nice.
Mike,
Here
we
we
get
go.
it. We get it. Yeah, mute your microphone. Perfect. All right, Deb, quick, before I take him back off mute. Finish that because I think that's important. That interaction was very important.
Yes, that interaction was very important, and I believe it will mean something that Statlander and Yuta had that moment. He's still talking.
He don't care. He's just going on.
And yes, they had that moment and the stare down with Marina Shafir. That was very unexpected and very, very interesting.
All right. One other thing that we got coming out of
In case before some schmuck muted me, I am not paying $50 for it. Sorry.
Okay, fine.
Then don't.
Well,
I don't give a fuck.
Okay, you won't pay $50 for that, but will you pay $50 for
I'll
Okada?
pay $50 for All In instead of watching Saturday Night's Main Event for free.
Okay, but would you pay
And you can't
$50?
share Prime. You can't share Prime. Anyone gets it on Prime. Oh, I'm not going to sign out of every device in my damn house to sign on to someone else's Prime to try and share something that you can't do it. So they're ruining shit. Go back to Triller. I'll stick with GCW and Bear Bronson. Thank you.
I wish you would. Anyway,
I wish you
would. Would you pay $50 for Okada Omega 3 or 4?
I would split $25 for the whole pay-per-view, and I really, in reality, I was just doing an elder rant. I don't give a crap about Moxley ever, so it doesn't matter.
But all right,
yeah, I would.
Okay, because that was announced this week.
Goes.
We have a new title in AEW coming up now.
It's a beautiful belt.
It is a very beautiful belt. And one thing I learned about it today, the side plates on it are a representation of the one wing angel and coins for the Rainmaker.
Ooh, really? I didn't notice that.
And they're going to be a permanent fixture on that belt, regardless of who holds it going forward.
Ooh.
To commemorate this historic match of the
I didn't see that detail.
Championships.
That's a really nice detail.
History of Omega and Okada, which is probably one of the best series of matches in at least the last 10 years. So
that might be the prettiest. That might be the prettiest title out
those
there.
of us who are familiar with Okada pre AEW and Kenny Omega pre AEW, especially in New Japan, we have been waiting for this. We have been waiting for, in some shape or form, an Omega Okada match, and we're finally getting it at All In. And he might be a cokehead, but once in a while, Tony Khan gets it right. Because this right now, with everything else that's going on in AEW, this is becoming a very big story leading into probably their biggest pay-per-view of the year. Am I often saying that? All In pretty much is AEW's WrestleMania.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And so that just made me think of something. Now that you said that detail about that title. So I was seeing stuff online that apparently AEW's desire is to kind of make this pretty much equal with their main
lost
championship.
My headphones for a second.
Which is, as much as we might not like two main championships, WWE does it too. So we're not AEW, whatever. And so that detail about that belt, Okada Omega, they were discussing this on Busted Open the other day. Okada and Omega really pretty much was the catalyst to which AEW was eventually born out of. That match kind of changed
And the catalyst for Busted Open pretty much like expanding to what it was.
Yeah.
From the famous
It
conversation
really is.
that
Like,
was had
that
between
that
Bully
match
and
changed
Dave.
the wrestling industry globally so much,
Bullet
and I
Club.
don't think people give it enough credit for that. And so I do like that idea that, you know, if they're gonna make this new unified championship kind of on equal standing with the AEW World Championship, then that's a great way to honor it by a feud in wrestling that really changed the industry in such an inexplicable way. That there's so many facets of the entire way the entire wrestling industry is right now would not have been like this if it weren't for Okada and Omega.
Sure.
And that is a great way to honor that. And, you know, no matter what happens in the future, you know, whoever wins that unified championship on July 12th, you know, obviously they're going to eventually lose it somewhere down the road. The title's going to go on. It's going to have other people carrying that title, but it will always have its roots and its origin in the Okada and Omega feud that changed the wrestling world. And that's really cool. That is a really, really cool thing.
That is.
And I've been somewhat low-key critical of AEW having too many belts at this point.
I don't know. You don't have to say AEW, John. Every wrestling,
everywhere,
every single one on TV has 2 minutes. No, I'll wait. I'll say TNA, maybe not, because TNA just has a few. They don't have a. But yeah, WWE and AEW, ROH. Yeah.
Well, I will say this.
Oh my God.
I'll trade any 2 belts for a women's tag team championship belt in AEW.
Okay.
You know, I gotta wonder if that is coming down the road at sooner rather than later, because, you know, we see now Sky Blue and Julia Hart as a tag team, and oh my God, how incredible are they together? It's just a match made in heaven for real.
Yeah. First of all, all of us here love tag teams. They you know, there's only VKM hated tag team wrestling. Everyone else in the world loves tag team wrestling. So you need that. It helps build rivalries, because you have 2 people, and then, you know, obviously something will happen. They'll break up, or they won't. You know, or sometimes you hit.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and then sometimes you get pissed off, like you see, like with the Acclaim. Like, why did they ever break them up? They were so over. They could have, but whatever, you know. But
I think that had to do with a lot of online heat towards Max, which was extremely unwarranted.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
But on one hand, we all
look at the
naturally
Profits. Look at the
heel.
Profits. Look at the Street Profits. How they were taught. Oh, you should take away. No, now they're a strong tag team. They're the champs. They have a finishing move. They, you know what I mean. So it's not all centered around Montez, Corsi, and not for nothing. Dawkins is a big, like, you know.
Yeah, but we all hate the, you know, can they coexist?
Yeah,
they're thrown together.
No, not slapped together.
Yeah. But you have, and this is across all companies. You have more than strong enough rosters that you can actually make, you know, organic, legitimate tag teams, both male and female. And again, we're dealing with a finite amount of time, or TV time, every week. So, you know, all right, it's not your own time, but if you're part of a tag team, you're still getting on television. And if you give it a chance to work and develop, the fans will get behind it and will support it. It's just, you know, and I say this to all the companies, what the hell are you waiting for? You have, you know, we just saw another very good organic tag team with history appear in AEW again this past week. Tay Mello is back with Anna Jay.
Yep.
You know, and and again, Megan Bain and Penelope Ford.
Yeah.
Megan Bain is an absolute superstar in the making, but Penelope Ford's been in AEW for a while, and people are responding to it. And it's just it's like, what are you waiting for? What are you afraid of?
Right.
If you have
and
that,
they will need time to build those stories. They will.
yes. But
the whole thing is,
my thing is just give me
tag team titles. Yes.
Give me an indication that you're leaning this way, or you're thinking the way I'm thinking, and if you want to say, oh, everybody on our roster is important, well, prove it. Make up a women's tag. Have a tournament. Everybody loves to have the tournaments.
We love tournaments.
Have a tournament.
Give me all the tournaments.
Yes, but show me as the fan that you're as interested in this as I am, and put something out there that I can get behind or I can be interested in. It's not rocket science here. People, it's pro wrestling. Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out.
One other thing I saw, and I've been seeing in AEW, and I want to get your guys' take on this. What in the hell are the Young Bucks doing besides whatever they want as their EVPs? What are they doing?
That's it. They do whatever
they want.
Is that the gimmick? Is that the story we're going with here?
I think it is. I really think it is. That they just do whatever
I
they
know
want.
that every time one of them wears white, that those good Christian boys are going to get blood on them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and they're going to keep coming out with new versions of thumbtack shoes.
That's got to be an homage to Arn Anderson, because anytime he's on walking out wearing white, you knew he was getting busted open.
And I get it, and I'm like, what? I mean, and I guess at this point, wrestling and real mixing together. I mean, they are EVPs. They are part owners of the company and pretty much can do whatever they want. But I don't know where we're going with this, because they've been
they're obviously going to screw around with the title shot.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean,
they're going to
interfere with. They're going to try and interfere with Hangman, whether they succeed or not. I don't know.
But on whose behalf?
Right. And I don't. We don't really know that yet.
Right.
We still have 4 weeks left.
We know Ospreay took the tax for Swerve.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, I get. It's not that I'm just scratching my head. I'm just like, I know they can fit into this whole main story that they have going, but I'm just not quite sure where and how they're going about it.
Right. And we have 4 weeks left, so I guess we'll just have to tune in and find out. But I did really
last time they just left, didn't they? Like what they just left.
So
they lost the belts. They lost.
It was when Mox was kind of taking over and just like slaughtering everybody. They pretty much said, "We've had enough of this shit. This place is insane. I'm out." They were seen shredding some papers in an office, which, who said it? Who said it?
That it was papers anymore. It's like everything's on hard drive.
Wasn't it Omega? It was Omega that said that it had something to do with, those subscriptions that he didn't want anybody to find out about, and the chair that's facing the bed.
Right.
He basically called them cucks.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, so on Summer
that was a nonsensical promo, but it made me laugh.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
So we had that backstage with the Bucks and Hangman, that's another interesting wrinkle, and that really kind of shows these interesting layers that like there's separate things that are going on that are kind of like we have 4 weeks for it to all come together and culminate, and. So when Hangman said to the Bucks, like, stay out of my business, stay out of Ospreay's business, and stay out of Swerve's business. And obviously, like, Nana was peeking his head out the door and heard it. And then Swerve said he heard every word. So that's kind of interesting because it shows, like, Hangman and Swerve have had this, you know, epic rivalry. And Ospreay has been trying to convince both of them, just like, let's work together for just one night. If you guys can just work together for just one night, and then you can go back to hating each other and wanting to kill each other. But just like, let's come together, let's form this alliance to take down Mox, just one night. And
I'm dying.
then there's Hangman.
They kills me too because this in wrestling it's a rivalry. In real life, it's arson and attempted murder.
Yeah.
It's so
God,
great. But
God, how fast are we frog marched and freaking like they're fire hosing
Hangman
us?
did nothing wrong.
They're fire
You can't
hosing us
convince
like
me.
when they pick up Rambo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Tough and stuff. Wait for your
Hangman
one
did
phone
nothing
call.
wrong. But now we're seeing these. Now we're seeing these little
diner
moments
30
like
miles
this where Hangman is like having Swerve's back, and Swerve is observing and going like, all right, you know, maybe there is something here. Maybe I should work with him. Maybe I should get along with him for just this one time. It's really interesting to me.
So now Swerve, yeah. So now it's like in you know, in the wrestling world, now Swerve owes Ospreay one.
Right.
This is pro wrestling. This is not real life. Come on.
No. It's
you know, you burned out someone's childhood home and people still love you. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We're almost to the hour, but I wanted to talk about one thing, switching gears.
I look forward to every Christmas watching that on the as the
yes,
the best little log
to
ever.
be an annual thing.
That is better than 24 Hours of a Christmas Story. Is 24 hours of Hangman in front of Swerve burning childhood home, sipping whiskey. There is an indie show tonight of sorts. Actually starting in about 10 minutes. Wrestling Revolver, Sammy Callahan's promotion, is doing a show on Triller Plus tonight. So those who just subscribe get to watch it. I'm calling this one Marriage Therapy Night because I won't go through the whole card, but you have one of the matches featured on the card is Zachary Wentz, part of the Rascals in TNA, against Priscilla Kelly, who is AKA or FKA Gigi Dolan in NXT. And oh, by the way, they're married in real life. So we have that match. And in the Ultimate Couples Therapy match, we have TNA star, my OG Jersey girl, the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, and her tag team partner, thank you always, sir, for your service, Bulletproof Steve Macklin, the TNA International Champion, who are married in real life, going against the brand new parents, Killer Kelly, now back in TNA after a sabbatical, obviously, to have a child with...
Fairly quick sabbatical, I might say.
Just a correction, Deonna is AEW, so... It's okay. You were going back and forth because her husband's in TNA.
TNA, yeah.
She's in AEW.
Yeah.
AEW ROH.
Right. And Killer Kelly's tag team partner is her baby daddy and husband, Myron Reed. So it's Tammy Callahan's a mad genius. Huh?
The modern day GOAT? Is that what they call him?
Myron Reed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
And again, as we started with the show, there's, it's like ice cream, but this just caught my eye just based on those matches alone. And supposedly they're going to have some sort of cage of fuckery match as well, which knowing Sammy Callahan, if he's behind it, it's going to be just something crazy. So
I see Steve is out in the chat, man, and I love that guy, man. Steve, we love you, man.
Steve's the best.
He is a cerebral assassin.
Steve, when are you coming back on the air on the show?
I just want to tell you, people,
time.
if he sees any of your fuckery on social media, he is the cerebral friggin' assassin. He will assassinate you, and you're going to be sitting there smiling as you're bleeding to death from 10,000 paper.
Yes.
So don't fuck with my friend Steve.
Steve, we need you back on the show. Reach out to our people. We need
Yeah,
you
while
back in
he's
the chair.
there, while we got Steve there, John, I just want to say Happy Father's Day to you. I want to say Happy Father's Day to Steve.
Yes.
All the fathers out
all
there.
the dads out there.
I want to say Happy Father's Day to my son-in-law, Steve. Thank you. You and Lindsay gave me the greatest Father's Day present ever. My little grandbaby, Stephen Edward the Third. The third. My word. My word.
I'll say it real quick.
My word.
Yeah.
I'll say it real quick because I know she's in the chat. What did you give your dad for Father's Day? I know you're in the chat.
Yeah.
What did you get me?
Something ECW
You
related.
get nothing.
Wrestling and NASCAR related.
But wait.
Also, front row out there taking care of his lovely wife Shannon, who's just had some.
We miss you, Mrs. Front Row.
We love you, buddy. Happy Father's Day. Have fun with your sons and taking care of the lovely Mrs. Row.
And just to give you a hint real quick on last thing on Father's Day, I legitimately received a Father's Day gift from my daughter, our resident medical advisor, a mug that says, "Dad, thanks for having a weak pullout game." I have the
This is why we love Brooke.
But on that note,
just like we keep
downstairs.
Just like we keep Chad around for Bootsy and Danielle, we keep you around for Brooke.
For my daughter, absolutely, that's the way it should be. I pass it all on to your kid.
Oh God. You guys are funny.
Look at my babies.
Aww.
There they are.
Should have left that on camera, the whole thing. To your ugly mug.
All right.
There I am.
Okay.
That's
Go
ahead.
Until
Make
I become
one.
one.
Now.
You realize I'm coming for that belt when I become a grandfather.
Fuck them kids, except my grandson.
All right,
that's
wrap
what
up.
I say.
So,
fuck them kids except for my nephew.
Yes. Mongrovian, tell the folks how they can interact with you.
If I haven't driven them away now, you want to come hear more of my bullshit? Mongrovian Mike. No, happy Father's Day to everybody. Mongrovian Mike. In all seriousness, man. I love everybody, man. And I love AEW. I just ranked on them, it's just tough, man. $50 a pay-per-view, and now you can't even split the fucking thing. I was happy.
Well, be glad they're not owned by TKO. If they were, it would double.
John had to John, when we were pulling our hair out, we don't have that much hair left. At least between both of us, I got more.
Yeah.
We'll
figure it out. We always do. Deb, besides, click the link. What else?
At That's So Debonair on all the socials, and happy Father's Day to my dad as well. I don't know if he watches. Maybe I know one of my dad's coworkers watch. So hi. But yeah, happy Father's Day to my dad. I get my sarcasm and my attitude from my mom, but I get my musical taste and my badassery from my dad. So
very cool. And I am, of course, at Twisted Metal Fab on the Instagram and the Twitter. And of course, you can keep up with the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in all professional wrestling. Of course, I am talking about the Ass Kicker 9000. You can keep up with all his exploits, making his debut in Florida next weekend at Ass Kicker 9K.
Mr. Money in the Bank
on the Instagram. And if you are so interested and want to learn more about the dynamic of me and my daughter, Brooke, our resident medical advisor, on the Nation's Corner YouTube page now is an interview that we did when generations collide. And yes, much like Deb said, fortunately, my daughter looks like her mother, but she gets her attitude and everything else from me. So take that as you will. Anyway,
It was
folks,
an awesome
thank you.
show.
It was a lot of fun, and
you
we
guys
will
should
do
do a
more of them.
NASCAR show too, man. You guys are into the cars, and I mean, you guys do more than just wrestling together. So
We're
you
well-rounded
do a lot
people.
of friggin' things. It's pretty awesome.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Nation's Corner. For myself, for Mongrovian Mike, and for Deb, we will see you all next week.